So I see someone join. Please let me know if you are able to hear me. Right in the chat. Hello? I see someone joined. Please write down if you can hear me in the chat. If you cannot, then it's a problem, but we will fix it. You can send any like positive reaction if you can hear me. Okay. So, I wonder what the problem is. I usually hold my microphone literally this like further away and when I record my videos and it's usually fine. So I'm wondering what's the problem. Still pretty bad? If it doesn't work this way, then we can just unplug the microphone and go with whatever my laptop has, I guess. Yeah, but it sounds like it's... Hi, somebody else joined. Please let me know if you can hear me well. Who just joined? Right in the chat. Let's confirm that it's my problem, not yours. So we're going to wait another couple of minutes and then I will start talking because I have some agenda to discuss and plus your questions, your live questions. Again, whoever joins, please let me know if you can hear me well because there's a person who has trouble hearing me. Okay, nice, 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 nice. And we will start the discussion then in a couple of minutes. In today's agenda, I would like to bring up some topics that you were interested in on my Instagram when I put a, I mean, it's a poll, not a poll, but like question box. So people left whatever they were interested in. And I want to recap on that and revisit that. And also another purpose of this stream, it's a first stream. I wanted to see how it works. I want to see if people enjoy it, if many people join it, and how our old dynamics is going to look like. So I literally just wanted to pave the path towards it. And again, of course, always encourage you to leave the questions in the chat. Anything that comes to your mind, or I mean, whatever our discussion sparks you. So now you can think about what you would like to ask, and we will just improvise from there. I literally was going to film today, but I had some unexpected thing happen to what I wanted to do. So I decided to just go live instead because that was my dream to go live on YouTube and just to try it out. So I'm happy anyway about it. I'm pulling up your questions now that we're on Instagram. I would like to remind you to subscribe to my Instagram page if you haven't already, or probably whoever joined now came from Instagram announcement that I just posted. So raw form of life. Another one is for my art, for my sewing projects. AF Wonderlander. So we're going to start now. I have one question that was left in the box on Instagram, and it was related to post more recipes, what I eat in a day, typical grocery run, etc. So for that thing, I actually created a playlist. So I started adding playlists on my channel because I already have so many videos, and so I can and my audience can definitely benefit from me having playlists for convenience. So all recipe videos that I've ever made, I put in that playlist. But if you want some specific recipes that I haven't made videos about yet, please let me know what exactly you would want to see. Maybe some food categories, maybe some dishes with certain purpose, with certain nutritional purpose, maybe like let's say dishes rich in specifically zinc or something, right? Or dishes for some detox. So, and we will make that video or those videos if there are several recipes that I can suggest. But be mindful that whenever you go on my channel, check the playlist tab. Right now, there is only one playlist that is related to the recipes. But the plan is to create more. So I will see how I can classify my videos because, the subject of raw veganism, raw plant based nutrition is a diverse and all encompassing pretty much. So there is a lot that can be done, a lot can be said, and we can move on from there. So if you have any questions about recipes, any suggestions, please let me know. Because literally, I I made a story about it that I don't really like fixate on food anymore because I calculated everything, I optimized everything, I try my best to stick to it, and I don't think outside of that for the most part. So, hi, where do you live? And is it hard to be raw vegan there? That's a great question. So, actually, and it was in line with one of the subjects that I have from Instagram. So where I live in New York, I live in up north, so it's pretty much the coldest area of the United States, probably. And the climate is similar to what I experienced in Russia. And I should say that it is probably more expensive to be raw vegan here than it would be down south. Or I also traveled to Montenegro in spring to visit my family, and there I was spending such a pennies for food, for produce, for fruits, for nuts, especially. So here it probably the only drawback, not only drawback, two drawbacks. The produce is probably a little bit more expensive, and another drawback is that it often comes unripe. So some like you cannot, for example, get ripe peaches, you cannot get ripe something, whatever seasonal, like kiwis, for example, will often come pretty solid and firm. So you need to let fruits ripen, which means that they're not as nutritious as they would be if you lived in the proper climate where they're readily available. With those two factors, of course, raw diet is lacking when you live up north. But all in all, it's not hard. And I want to make a video about how to be raw vegan in winter, given that we technically cannot eat like hot cooked meals that are heavier, that are oilier. And this kind of seems off putting for many people who are not familiar with the philosophy of raw foodism. But to me, it's actually the other way around. So I want to discuss that because the outlook that I have on raw foods and how they are much more beautiful and invigorating throughout the cold seasons, I feel like maybe inspiring for some people who are, again, repelled from this way of eating, specifically by the cold seasons. So, hard, it's not hard. What I want to say that when we ask about whether something is hard or not, uh, hard is the word in our head. Whenever something becomes your priority, things suddenly become insanely easy. And I went through so many uh, hardcore transitions in my life, right? So I went to the best university in Russia, to one of the most hardcore departments. I graduated from there and I went straight to the United States, also for to get my degree. Was it hard? No, it was a process. It was just an algorithm. So it was easy because I knew what I wanted and it was my priority. So it's just, I had so much energy allocated to that it was easy. Things are hard when we don't have enough energy to devote to our goal. So when we mentally have some block to achieving something, things become hard because we cannot freely allocate enough energy to invest into that project. And this is when we meet resistance. This is when we start creating obstacles in our head. This is when we start double thinking. So when we think about raw vegan diet being hard, it can be if it's not a priority. It's insanely easy if it is a priority. Plus, also, and another thing is when something is our priority, we start looking, we start finding actually and seeing the possibilities. How I can make it pleasurable, how I can make it easy, how I can make it affordable, approachable. And so things become easy on multiple levels, on the motivation level and on the execution level, just because we start looking for the options. So hard, it's it's the choice literally to make something hard or make something easy. So how much is too much nuts and seeds? This is an individual story. I mean, I have my own limits. I know how much I can consume without feeling like some unpleasurable sensations. Most importantly, I would say that you shouldn't really mix nuts and seeds with something particularly sweet a lot. So I think that what you eat nuts and seeds with will add to the experience of them being heavy and unpleasant. Other than that, another factor is um, you see, for example, flax seeds, hemp seeds, and then some heavier nuts, they will all have different properties and they will also have different levels of, let's say, omega 6 in them. So this is also something to look at, to look for, to not overshoot omega-6, even though I saw some Harvard paper that says that omega-6 in plant foods is not really any concerning thing. But then I also heard the opposing opinion, again on the level of opinion. I might make a study on that. That actually overshooting omega-6 without compensating it with omega-3 may be one of the factors of not failure per se, but um, some complications associated with raw diet because omega-6 gets converted in prostaglandins, which is a hormone of inflammation. So you can literally, like omega-6, again, maybe depending on which sources we're getting it from, can get converted into the directly inflammatory processes. So responding to how much, it's again, test and see. And in which combinations we also do this. So, wow, that answer was awesome. Thank you. I'm interested. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm interested. How is your social life going being raw vegan? Social life is totally fine. Now I'm kind of like, I don't go out much per se, so my social life, a lot of it happens online, but I also communicate with a lot of friends, with some community around me. And the best advice that I can give when it comes to raw diet is to broaden yourself, broaden your scope of interests beyond food. So sit and think, what can you offer besides or beyond food. Because I don't know if anyone is interested, but I really want to make a stream or a video or something or webinar, life after raw diet, in which I will be discussing what can we do with our potential, with our abilities, with our energy that we gain by going on raw diet. So this is something that I really want to do, want to discuss. And the center point is that if raw diet is the end goal, then it's a struggle, then it's a trouble, because your whole identity, your whole life is going to be allocated there. And this is a point of vulnerability. When we allocate a lot of ourselves into something one, then that does not necessarily actually contribute to our personal creative development. Then we're very vulnerable and unstable. Anything can throw this balance off. So I'm always pro balancing life in all its areas. And one of the major things is our mission, our creative part, creative realization. And when you have that, then you're going to find connection with other people. You're going to find things to give to people that are completely unrelated to raw diet. And one thing that I want to practice now is that sometimes people ask me about, like, oh, are you on some special diet? I don't know why they think so. I guess they feel some energy and so on and so forth. But I want to start telling them that it's all genetics, because I really want to be greedy about the method of raw diet, because it has such a bad reputation in life. So, um, but the point is that try to build social connections around something outside of diet. And then let people be surprised when they learn. Be greedy about your raw veganism. Keep it as some hermetic knowledge for yourself. Because this will actually, if you think in terms of marketing, things that are hidden, things that are kept a secret, things that are kept exclusive, they will drive more curiosity in people. And the other thing is that you will put yourself in the position in which you will be interesting for people for other things. So let's see now. What about fasting? Just done 44-hour fast. I don't do fasts. So the point, why I do this is because I'm a woman, and while I was doing my PhD, I underwent certain stressful moments, and I know how my hormonal health responds to stressors, when such as sleep deprivation, food deprivation, extreme stress, tiredness. I know that my body just takes a pause in my cycle, and I don't like it. So I observed my body through those stressful events. And in general, my cycle is very like steady. So it's always been, except for the points when I'm stressed. This is why I am so meticulous about my nutrition. And on the other hand, I try to feed myself with abundance. So this is my philosophy of nutrition right now, is abundance. Fasting, I do sometimes pretty short-term mono fasts, usually in the junks between seasons, like especially coming from winter to spring. For example, I love pineapples a lot. So I would eat only pineapples for several days. And that feels very good. But then I feel like when I need to put it on pause and start eating normally. So this is how I do it. Full fasts, dry fasts are something that I don't practice. Again, I'm just being very careful with my hormonal health. I respect my body in that regard. And I don't want to play with that. Maybe as I'm getting older, maybe as I'm getting more like somehow free flowing with that, and I feel like I need to fast, I will do it. So far, there was no point at which I felt like I needed to fully fast. Like, I swear. And this is why I just don't practice it. I feel like I need to consume certain foods, and I feel like I need to eat my salad. I feel like I need to eat those fruits, but I don't feel like I need to abstain from food. This is my view on that. And perhaps um, it's not right. Perhaps it's not a universal formula, but you're asking me, and I'm replying. This is how I feel about it. Again, as a woman, I cherish something that males, for example, will not be able to appreciate. My body doesn't have some level of resilience against certain stressors, which food deprivation can be that stressor. But maybe I don't know about it, and maybe I would benefit from it. I don't know. So, um, I made some raw taco meat with walnuts, and I made a sauce for it with cashews. Amazing. Actually, you know what? With walnuts, carrots, and onions and bell peppers, if you mix that and make patties and dehydrate them, you can mix them later with um, red onion, fresh onion, either like fermented pickles or sauerkraut, and that will taste like McDonald's. I love that stuff, but I don't do it frequently. I'm too lazy. So, then another question we have: I'm raw vegan since 2012, vegan since 2009, and I have stopped going out, almost left with no friends, which is kind of sad. It is. It is sad. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, if you if you feel a void, right, you need to do something with it. So if you have a need for friends, you feel bad about it. This area of your life is lacking. This is only your responsibility to go and fix it, right? So if you feel that it's lacking, think about why and how you can do this. Because sometimes, there are some artificial blockages in our mind that prevent us from reaching out. For example, you haven't talked to some friend for 3 years. I had a friend like that. And it's so fascinating how those old day friendships, they can rejuvenate on a whim. And so we reach out to each other. We feel like sisters, even though we don't talk routinely. But we can discuss the deepest questions, the deepest subjects about ourselves, because you are going through transformations. Those people are going through transformations. And you never know at which level they are at now, because you left them at some other level. You both are at some other level, right? And now you don't know if you really diverged or if you came closer over time. So it may be good to actually reach out to those people and ask them how they're doing. This would be one way out of this. Because again, you're saying you're sad, so it's a problem. You should solve it. Oh, another person says, then I'm friends. Okay. Um, yeah, but again, you have so much to give. Like literally, you have so much to give. This beyond food. You can literally suggest people to go out and walk somewhere and or meet up and do something. It's not just about food. It's actually so interesting because yeah, we're like food gathered community, right? Raw vegans. But the paradox is that raw foodism frees you from food addictions mostly, right? Frees you from this hyper focus on food. But at the same time, society says that raw foodists are super into food, super fixated on food, which can be partial truth in some cases. But in reality, this society as a whole is super fixated on food. We have so many rituals, we have so many customs, we have so many relationships based solely around food in some the most aggressive fashion. And again, take like I spoke about in one of my videos. I was literally stroked by some post or something online where they like how to infuriate a French person. Bite into a baguette. Who cares what you do with the baguette? It's intended for consumption. If you're doing it like to your enjoyment and okay, not being super provocative with it, then what's the problem with biting into baguette? But it's such an important thing that people get offended. So humanity as a whole has very unhealthy relationships with food, again owing to the centuries of scarcity of survivalism. Raw foodism tries to step outside of that. And so again, it would be a great exercise for everyone to find where we can connect outside of food. There's so many events that are not related to that. There's so many concerts, exhibitions where you can discuss it. You can go to the bookstore and have conversations around books or something like that. Some clubs, gatherings, and so on and so forth. So again, putting food outside, make it your vehicle. This is literally what makes your body, what makes up your body, food. So that's it. Beyond that, how are we going to use that body? How are we going to use this energy? This is up to us, and this is a more complex question, right? And this is what we can project to people to teach them that or encourage that, not teach, encourage that. So then we have Tadadam-pam-pam. Never do cook mushrooms. Yeah, I quickly cook mushrooms. I do usually 10 minutes saute. And this is my not guilty pleasure because mushrooms are actually super, super duper medicinal. Of course, when you cook them, most of their medicinal compounds, because they're polysaccharides, they, as most fibers, polysaccharides, they break down to simpler compounds when we cook them. But maybe something survives. So something like shiitake, maitake, lion's mane, oyster mushrooms, they're super cool. Another thing I make is trumpet mushrooms. They are pretty fascinating, but I don't do it frequently. So I usually eat buy mushrooms like once, twice a month, maybe. But if you count actually how many cooked meals I eat per month, it's very hard to say because my household is not raw. I'm the only raw person here, and I cook food that is vegan as well. So I try some. So I sometimes feel like I do too much of cooked food, and sometimes I have to literally stop myself a little bit because I tried because I'm serving it right to people, and so sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less. They always keep it within the limits that don't disrupt my how I feel about how my body feels. Then we have, for some reason, I fatigue when I eat salad. Maybe it could be the transition. How long are you going to transition for? Because fatigue, do you feel fatigued because your jaw muscles are not worked out and you literally have muscle failure or what? I don't know. It's an interesting question. I never felt that, and I really don't know. We need to think about the complex of things. And plus, when do you feel fatigue? Do you feel fatigue as you're eating them or immediately afterwards, or when digestion actually kicks in, like after like 30 minutes, when they start absorbing into your system? So those are the variables to analyze to draw conclusions about it. But then also, what's in your salad? What do you use? Because I'm the huge proponent of buying bulk greens that haven't been cut, put in the bag, set for a week before we consume them, like also washed, so they were tumbled, their structure disrupts. You start oxidizing all the nutrients, they turn into flavorless, useless compounds. Then what's inside of your salad? Do you use, for example, some people actually, there are studies that such things as onions and garlic, for example, they slow down our cognitive ability and reaction. So those things may happen. I've never witnessed that, never experienced anything like that. I eat like half of big red onion per day usually. I don't eat garlic, I'm too sensitive to it. But that is another thing that may potentially happen, whatever. So you need to literally like tell me when you feel fatigued. And but usually, if you're on the path of gaining health, you're supposed to be feeling gradually better and better and better. You're not supposed to feel super bad all of a sudden. So about illnesses, I don't like such topics. The answer is no. And I usually talk about health because I like if I tell you, for example, headache 20 times, you will start feeling headache. So this programming, I don't like it, and I don't like talking around those subjects. Let's talk about health. Let's talk about well-being. Let's talk about being like vital, prolific, energetic, and beautiful. Okay, this will be our culture on this channel. So this is what I try to instill. And let's think in those categories. So then, for example, if I would go out not drinking alcohol, nothing except water, that alone is raising eyebrows. I feel people feel like I try to make myself more important or better than them. If you treat them as mirrors, right? Why are you feeling that way? Because I remember when I just quit drinking, it was 2018, and when I was again in grad school, we had lots of social outings, in which, of course, there would be those free tickets for alcohol, like at the conferences, would have banquets, we would have some evenings out where after the conference, for example, conference lasts a week, right? And we go to some bars, some events, just to have fun. And so drinking was a normal, like pretty much integral part of this activity. And then I quit drinking. But Again, like with genetics, when somebody tries to stick their nose in what you're doing, first iteration is to make a light joke that it's a genetics. How I trained my colleagues to think that it's totally okay that I'm not drinking was, I was telling, even though it's not true as I found out, but I was telling them that my grandma was part half Asian, so I don't have enzyme that breaks down alcohol. So if you don't want to be in trouble trying to rehabilitate me after drinking a glass of wine, please stay away from this topic. So this is how I started doing this. So a joke, sense of humor always is on your side. And of course, it's very easy to slip into irritation, right? Why are you doing this? You're expecting from people the attacks. You're expecting to be attacked by people. Like, why are you not drinking? Do you think that you're better? Drink, please. Like, I do have another thing that they like to say. Do you have something to hide that you don't want to relax yourself? Those things are pretty expected. But find the ways to make a joke about it, because this is the best way to do this. When you laugh at yourself, nobody will laugh at yourself. When you upfront ridicule yourself, this is when others relax. This is how you set up the acceptance atmosphere in your crowd. So be that leader, and be the leader of comfort, be the leader of acceptance, and don't try to find in people the desire to find that something is off. And again, defocus, like with children too. You're dealing with a crowd that is doing something, right? They're drinking alcohol. You can make a joke about it, or you can just smile and laugh, or you can, if okay, if all eyes on you, then a joke is the best. But when you deal with when somebody is trying to strike an uncomfortable conversation, like with children, a child throws a tantrum, they really want that toy. What do? You don't hold any rational conversations. A child is in their element, so is any element of a crowd, because crowd, what IQ of a crowd is what divided, like it's one person's IQ divided by the number of participant members of the crowd, right? Just distract them. So if there is a circumstance in which you can execute on that, compliment the dish suddenly. Or be like, oh my God, what's in your glass? Your cocktail looks phenomenal. By the way, are you a connoisseur in wines? Wines fascinate me. I've always wondered, you can tell that like back in 1955, you tried to go wine testing and you didn't recognize anything. You got wasted before it happened. Because again, you are in the crowd. Your goal is communication. Your goal is not finding a close friendship. Your goal is not building some close intimate relationships there. Your goal is networking. And again, seeing if they're getting some dynamics and probably getting some advantage from that outing, right? So you can make a joke about that and ask people questions. The same thing. I don't know if I hope that no Jehovah Witnesses are watching me, but I was talking to one Jehovah Witness, and she tried to convert me into their religion. What I did, I started an interview because I knew that it would be very impolite. I mean, there was a situation in which it would be impolite to rudely revert from the conversation. But the thing was that I distracted her to respond to questions about herself, because everybody loves to talk about themselves. And instead of being in the spotlight, take that spotlight and reflect it back on people. And interview the hell out of them about their alcohol, how they enjoy it, what flavors and notes they're feeling, what are the compounds in their drink, and what are they eating, how are they enjoying their meal. Oh my God, what was the best restaurant you've ever been to? I remember that fun experience when I was overseas and I went to this restaurant, I ordered something and they brought me, I don't know, a live frog or something. Ha 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 ha. So they do this. You don't need to talk about yourself all the time. It's it's a little bit tiring, tiresome. So just reflect back. Reflect back. Do the interview. Interview those people. So then, um, Great advice to ask friends to go for a walk. Thank you. I live in Croatia. It is a land where food is everything. We love food. If you don't eat their food, people get so defended. I understand because Croatia, I mean, I was just nearby. I was in Montenegro and I noticed that. Actually was invited to a family and but um, they were one second. They were Serbians, not Montenegrins, and they actually offered me lunch. But they were Serbians, and the guy was super versed on history, super versed on culture, and they were um, and one of the persons came from Australia, so she immigrated to Australia. So they were very like Western and progressive. So being announcing that I was a vegan in their household was accepted very normally, and they just made jokes and laughed, and I laughed with them as well when they just gave me grated cabbage and carrot salad and some. I mean, they gave me bread, some bread. I mean, bread. I mean, I couldn't say no to that because right um this is they gave me toast, so I had that, and it didn't create any drama. It creates some curiosity in older generation members of this family, but otherwise I was pretty safe in my stance. But I can understand that the more conservative, the more family, the more traditional environment gets, the harder it is to escape. But be the weirdo, but be the positive weirdo, right? Because nobody likes to have some Messiah or Jesus Christ embodied who delivers the truth to people and show gratitude. And also another thing is that sometimes, like for example, I'm always like thinking about it. If person, for example, lovingly gives me the toast, like I would not buy bread and make toast for myself. But if someone tries to make a good impression on me, if someone tries to give me love, and food sharing is their language of love, I think that in some circumstances, accepting their love is more important than holding on to your raw diet. If again, 99% of time you are in your element, you're doing what you're doing, but then in some extraordinary case, somebody shares love as they understand it. It would be incredibly offensive if you reject it. So trying to accommodate this gesture, I feel like again, if it's not something that happens all the time, if you are in charge of your life, if you live more or less independently, on occasion, it's totally beautiful experience. Because we're here to build connection, we're here to build a beautiful society in which again giving and receiving happens smoothly, where giving and receiving is a normal practice and everybody's getting happier and more fulfilled, right? So, for example, your grandma, right, knew that you liked some pie, some cabbage pie, for example. I mean, she doesn't know what raw veganism is at this point, but she knows that you're going to visit her, and she knows that you would enjoy this cabbage pie. And I mean, she will make it for you because this is how she knows to share love with you. So this is my philosophy. Maybe I don't know. I may be wrong, but this is how I feel about it. Then I like Croatia. I like Balkan. Yep. The fatigue is after I've digested everything hours after I've eaten. The salads are mixed salad, onion, avocado, etc. It seems like juice fasting is the only thing that sparks life force into me. How long have you been on raw diet, by the way? And I really don't know. I mean, I would like to see your diet, how it looks, because we're designed to chew, right? We have teeth that are supposed to deeply massage our face, facial bones, our muscles should work, lymph nodes must be pumped. So chewing is a natural thing, and we should be able to digest things. The salads are mixed salads. Again, experiment with different greens as well, different proportions, and see which like maybe try actually mono meal, right? So you eat one avocado and observe. You eat just greens and observe. You eat seeds, whatever you add there, and observe. So then see whichever strikes the reaction, and then try to reduce the number of foods combined. Combine like two foods together, then Combine the other two foods together, combine other food, then add more and experiment, because it can be food combination, it can be one ingredient that throws you off, the choice of ingredient, the proportion of ingredient, and those things. What salads do usually, by the way, if you're using, by the way, another thing, when you're doing bitter greens cause your bile to secrete, right? So because they purge liver pretty powerfully. Another thing is that they do is that they are diuretics, so they purge kidneys. Make sure to drink a lot, preferably distilled water in the beginning, especially. So try drinking more, such that you don't have those things being complicated, because it's literally the purging process. You need to liquefy the bile, you need to liquefy the urine deconcentrated, such that all this cleansing process happens naturally. Because I notice, like, after a salad, after a big salad, especially with like dandelion greens, with stuff like that, I start like needing to use bathroom more, because again they pull liquid from the body. And if you have some impairment of this function, if you don't support your body on this cleansing process, then this may be a problem. Then, I don't like parties. Nature is my party. Good. I mean, as long as you're harmonious, right? Because social life is also important, I feel. But if it's not for you, then maybe it's your phase, um, maybe it's your character that is accentuated introvert. So nature is beautiful, of course. But imagine combining nature experience with like-minded people. Imagine just sitting contemplating life and beauty of the existence together. That's gorgeous, I think. And yeah, you can do alternative parties. I mean, I would not go to some party where everybody is getting wasted and tries to like flex themselves and all this like mating ritual. I'm not really into that. But I would go to a party that's, for example, themed for fashion, because I'm into that. I would like to go to such party because again, there's something more than just getting wasted and having that empty fun. Or I would go to the nature with my friends. I would go jam music, for example, with my friends. So those are parties for me. You just can redefine it. I would go, for example, I have Marcus Rothkran's book about edible plants. I would go grab this book and try go into the wild, in the meadows or in the forest, trying to hunt for those herbs. That's another party. Super cool, and immediately many topics to discuss. So, and beautiful experience. So party. I'm across the board in Slovenia. Here, alcohol. Okay. Here, pretty much the same. Alcohol woven into culture. It's even better because I don't drink and hang out in with those boring people and can have fun without alcohol. Yep. Attract people who are like minded, and it will be total blast. Throw questions back. Opinion about herb tea. I mean, I do them sometimes. I like some. I don't do them. Actually, you know what happened? I used to drink a lot of tea in the past. Because I hated not distilled, not forget. I absolutely hated all filtered water. So I would boil it with tea just to add some flavor to it. So I swear, I never drank normal clean water before. I was, aside from like drinking bottled water sometimes when I would get thirsty on the trip somewhere, right? I always drink only tea. And then distiller came to my life, and now I cannot drink anything but distilled water. I mean, I can, again, on the trips, I drink bottled water just fine. But routinely, I love water so much that I don't drink any like flavored stuff. But sometimes I would be, for example, in the mood for turmeric tea. But again, another thing is, as soon as you discover raw turmeric roots, like fresh turmeric roots, and like juices out of them or smoothies out of them, you feel the real potency, and you don't want to make them into tea. You want to juice them. But something like mint tea is totally cool, and chamomile teas, and you can also use them as facial toners. Those are also brilliant applications. So in and out, it's an amazing thing. Herbal teas are for the win, of course. So all comes to personal preference. Then you can make some invigorating teas like with cloves, for example, clove and cayenne pepper and cinnamon, something like that, something that brings spark. Maybe for people who struggle with the coldness of the winter, it would be a useful tip, useful mixture. Chamomile, yeah, you're screaming chamomile here. Yeah. So yeah, chamomile is super cool. And again, there's face toner, face wash, hair rinse. Oh my god, those things, they're perfect. Then I'm sitting here, full. My neckline is falling. Then just low. So then uh, music. Music is my taste for music is super diverse. Super diverse. And the thing is that I'm emotional person, and I'm artistic person. So to me, music is a super vehicle. I can literally have switch to the mood that I'm looking for, because some artistic inspiration comes from a very bright and cheerful place. Some artistic inspiration comes from a very dark place. And I have music for literally all emotions that I experience in life. And my music taste was mainly influenced from outside. So there, I'm not that connoisseur who goes out of their way and discovers new music. I literally usually receive recommendations from people, and then those things stuck usually. So I'm not an independent music connoisseur. What I don't like is classic rock. I don't like it. I don't like jazz. Like basic jazz. I like something that sparks some mental work. I like more sophisticated music in both metal genre and jazz genre, something more sophisticated, or some pop adaptations. But I don't like this layer of classic rock. Just no, I've never been able to develop taste for that. And I guess a lot of my friends would despise me for it, but who cares? So maybe we could order alcohol and pretend to drink sip or two and proclaim. Yeah, yes, you can do that. Again, people are, for the most part, people have very predictable psychology, very predictable attitudes. So you can do that, and you can. Oh, by the way, isn't there? No, there is some tick that if tick bites a human, human can no longer have meat. They become severely allergic to meat. I wonder if there is something like this. There is actually alcohol allergy. You can tell that you have unfortunately have alcohol allergy. You can say that with age you developed it. That actually exists, so you can tell that and laugh at it. Or you can say that I don't know if it's allergy or what. One thing I would love to have here is a fresh juice store. Do you have that in New York City? I'm not in New York City. But yeah, fresh juice store. Now there is a store Bear Blends. But they say they package them. I think they are good for a couple of days. They're not particularly fresh. I don't know if somebody squeezes juices right in front of you. I know that in Russia it was a thing. Whenever we went to the malls, again, in Russia, the structure of the cities is a little bit different. So cities are much more lively, and malls were also pretty lively. And there, where like all the good commerce would be, the community would be, and they would be in the center of the city. So you walk to the mall. It was like my mom and I would walk every Friday night or on Saturdays just to have this girl time, and we would always get the juice. They would squeeze pomegranates, oranges, carrots, yeah, apples right in front of you. They had those booths, and it was very nice. Here, I don't know. Gotta research and gotta Google probably. I bet there are some. So what about fluoride water? I mean, and what's your toothpaste? About toothpaste, do you follow me on Instagram? You probably do. I made a story about it. I probably will put it in a reel. I have a reel on my Instagram that is showing all of my personal care products. I'll post it in the story. If you follow me on Instagram, it will be in the story. One second. About toothpaste, but fluoride. Actually, my faucet water. I bought test strips. I don't have any fluoride in my water, detectable fluoride, and I use distilled water. So I don't have it in principle, and I would avoid it. Actually, it was funny. I went to the I had very good dentistry back in Rochester, and then when I moved, I went to the holistic dentistry here. And this holistic dentistry shocked me because they had banners. I thought that they would be talking about how your nutrition, how your overall health affects teeth. And I come there for just like routine checkup for cleaning. And first of all, everybody there was obese. And then I look at their banners, like posters on the walls. The holistic aspect of this dental care was literally in the fact that teeth problems can cause inflammation. And on that poster, there were three super morbidly obese women who were displaying the dental problems uh, can cause inflammation in the body. And the next thing after this reception, I will go in, they do cleaning, and they give me, because I have some gum recession, so it's like sites of increased sensitivity, they prescribe me medical grade fluoride gel to apply to the teeth. And their aesthetical medicine clinic too. And one of their things is when you fill out the survey, are you happy with how your teeth look? Because they do all those whitening procedures, bleaching, and I mean, fluoride gels can cause darkening of the enamel, and this is their business to whiten teeth. So I was like, this is such a scam of a clinic, such a scam. Like I even cannot uh, ask a question about a relationship between what I do with my body and how it reflects on the dental health because it's literally not the concept. Their holistic thing, their adjective in front of this dentistry was literally a scam. And they solidified when they prescribed this medical grade fluoride gel that you put overnight on all of your teeth. Nuts. So what's your toothpaste? Yeah, I sorry for negative. No, no, don't be sorry. It's okay. I just wanted to explain. I've never brought it up. I never brought up the aspect of ethics on my channel. So it's good that we actually discussed that. So um toothpaste, yeah, post on store in my Instagram, raw form of life. If you don't have Instagram, the name is let me write it down. Auromere right now. You can also try Boca if you have Boca or um Apagard Premio. Pum pum pum. I've been getting more interest concerning mangoes, so I might need to visit the mango farm. Do you have the information on mango farming? No. I would love to though. I really wanna. I went to Dominican Republic and that's where I had a blast because they had the freshest, the ripest papaya that was just oozing juices and mangoes. Those were the most delicious. I feel like that trip to Dominican partially influenced my choice of raw veganism because it was just so good. If you go to mango farm, do a blog about it because it must be a blast. You cannot see emotion on your face. Not good. Um, and the reggae, I don't think. Oh, reggae, yeah, I don't like it because yeah, it's. I mean, it's you see, it's associated with certain culture. Again, you know when they say that don't drink alcohol, instead like do pot. I disagree with that. I like when people try to find long and profound path to their mental potential and control of their mind. This is where the most profound development is. And so, yeah, the culture is associated with any substances, aesthetics around those cultures are not so close to me. They don't resonate with me. You don't like Led Zeppelin? I mean, I can listen to them, but in homeopathic doses. Uh, when you discover something more interesting, you won't go back. Saying that you don't drink poison, dangerous. You see, it's like me, me, me. And again, yeah, people get triggered by that. So depending on the objectives of your conversation, if you're being directly attacked, even then, practicing the mastery of um, making people realize that they made you uncomfortable would be a cool trick. Then, Yes, we have it. Fresh squeezed juice here in shopping center. You just reminded me. Thank you, thank you. Cool. Are you born in USA? No, I was born in Russia. Actually, yeah, my family has been. I think my great grandparents were deported from early Soviet Union down from Russian territory down to Kazakhstan. So my parents were born. My grandparents, my parents were born in Kazakhstan, and then my parents met there in high school, and they moved together to Russia, to Yekaterinburg. Will not tell you anything, but it's one of the major cities, and they went to the university there. And I was born there when they were students. They were 20. So I was born there, and then we lived 5 years there. Then my mom remarried. We went to another city and spent 10 years there. Then I moved to Moscow to go to school, and I spent 5 years in Moscow. And then I moved to the US. So it was in 2016. Oh, it was 7.5 years now that I moved. And then I went to one school, then I transferred schools after 9 months. Then I worked for a company, and now I'm doing this type of service, which I'm very happy about. And I'm doing art and sewing full time. So, all of those three super important for me things. Then, then I like Russia more. I mean, you see, all my adult life, there were certain things that made me move from Russia, and I don't regret that at all. Now, like I know that sometimes I will think, especially in the moments of when my emotional resource is a little bit depleted, I will think back about all those beautiful moments. Again, like today, I reminisced about how I went to those shopping sessions with my mom when things were abundant, when things were beautiful, when everything was so celebratory. But then I remember the other side of this reality, and I remember trying to integrate into the adult life there. And it was a challenge which would deplete 90% of my energy before I would be able to have anything done. So at this point, I do not know anything about Russian bureaucracy. And whenever I talk to my friends, they all tell me that, you know what, things became worse since you left. Even though it seems like the progress happened, right? Like things must have become um, more convenient, digitalized, but it's still so weird. It's so foreign to me. Again, all my adult life, I know all bureaucracy only in the United States. So I know how to live here. I know what to do here. I see my perspectives here. And this is why I'm pretty comfortable and happy about how things happened. And when you eat on the vegan side and work out, do sports, your body blood vessels are more open and carbs and glycogen muscles, and you feel like a child again. Free birdie, spirit up. I agree. 1000% agree because I remember when I went to a vegan, I'm like, I can do this cardio now. I can run. Like, I got my dog and we started going on run sessions. I'm like, oh. Plus, again, my migraines disappeared that I struggled with for 27 years. And no doctor was able to tell me anything productive about it. So, 26 years, I guess. So those two things happened. So athletic performance and migraines, which means that my blood vessels elasticity increased, or my blood structure did changed. Maybe viscosity decreased, or something. Maybe some deficiency got replenished. So something happened. But yeah, reflected on my cardiovascular performance much better. So funny faces. I have to say, dates bothered me because they claim being number one fruit. Sure. Art pieces behind are amazing. Are they your creations? Yeah, everything I have is my creation. This one, sneaking inside. Like, look at this, right? I painted it several years ago. I think it was 2019 or 20. Look at the faces that I painted. It's insane. I now am so curious to actually go back to painting. I made this one as a draft for my coat that I've sewn recently. So I just finished this one. But it's literally my fashion draft. It was like my mood board thing. So before I started, commenced the sewing process, I decided to paint it in color because it was very worthy color. So this one was my most recent one. And this one is my favorite painting. I'm sorry. I want to make more paintings. Yeah, I even have canvas there prepared to make more of these. And this is 2019 because it's the most troll painting I've made and I love it. Those watercolors, sometimes I do watercolors because I need to prove to myself that I can paint academic style and I can actually build composition. This one too, little palm tree. They're on stickers on the wall, so I can't bring them closer. What else? I think that's there are more paintings there, but I mean they're all on my Instagram on my F Wonderland. So this one, I will put it in chat. Wonderlander. Boom. So this is where my art is. You can look. Then, have you heard of Purrum? No. Elaborate. I don't know what it is. Do you like the sun? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm addicted to the sun. Actually, on raw diet, it's also another benefit is that I stopped burning. So it was interesting because I went to the beach with my mom, and she would burn, and I wouldn't from the same level of exposure. And we used to burn with the same rate. So on raw diet, literally, you're so with such a low inflammation, and you have so many antioxidants in your system, and you have so much pigment free like material to build the pigment that burning doesn't happen. So it's very soothing diet for skin as well. Thanks. What do you use sunscreen? No, I just moderate my sun exposure, so I wouldn't go crazy. Right, I wouldn't sit under the sun from like 12 to 3 deliberately baking myself. I wouldn't do this, right? I do sun tanning usually in the morning and then in the late afternoon. I wouldn't go in the peak hours because it's just unpleasant. It eventually makes you tired a little bit. But again, I was walking. We walked in the mountains. I don't know, and it also was fine this time under the sun. We actually went for herb picking in Montenegro. So I became much more comfortable under the sun. No use of sunscreen. Thanks for the stream. You're full of knowledge and beaming with health. Thank you so much. It's so cool. It's all genetics. You're 27. I was thinking you're no. I'm 29. I turned 29 in August. Anyway, you're very cute, smart, beautiful young woman. Thank you so much. It's very pleasant to hear. Don't know if. Oh, yeah, you stop burn. It's for a reason. Yep. Heard if you use sunscreen, you don't absorb vitamins so good. So I guess vitamin D, you don't produce it. You don't. There is obsession with sunscreens, and yeah, I feel like I was thinking how to design an experiment basically. For example, I go eat my diet, my normal raw diet, right? And I do suntanning, and for example, I cover one of my arms, and I suntan only one arm. Then I go eat, for example, McDonald's for the day, and I cover my this raw vegan arm, and I go suntan with this arm. I was curious to see what would happen if this one would burn from the same level of exposure or not. Then, what is the theme of your favorite painting? Just life force. What else? It's this like it's also irony about because everything is so like serious and with this pretentious eroticism and like all this pretentious evil worshipping when you go to high arts, when you go to high fashion. So I wanted to laugh at it. I really wanted to make something like oh, something like about sex, something about oh eroticism, something about oh. So it's like double irony about seriousness of treating the subject in the society and about the subject itself. And at the same time, like celebration of this area of life because it's very important. It's the most prolific thing. So I love this theme a lot. It's the most foundational It's the most foundational way of bringing your liveliness to the world, in my opinion. Creativity and sex. So, then, yeah, you stop burning it, yeah? Heard if you sunscreen. Okay. What about massage? I crave it, honestly. I love massage. It's one of my favorite things, for real. I remember again when I was living in Moscow, I would visit my parents, and my parents had a massage therapist. She was specialized on athlete recovery and functional massage. So she actually sometimes she would, my mom had, like, for example, some stuck muscles, and this massage therapist would give her injection directly in the muscle to relax it in targeted fashion. So this was a really good specialist. And whenever I would visit them like every month and a half, every 2 months. They would also allow me to undergo the sessions. And she would visit with, they had, my parents bought a massage table. I guess it's a huge culture in our family. Now my parents give each other massages every evening before bed. So it's something that we really built in our family. But right now, I don't have this capacity. What I do pranamat. I don't have pranamat itself, but it's like acupressure mat. Phenomenal. But it's more effect on the surface. It relaxes you so well. And then I also do yoga, and I also do my facial release. So I have balls and I roll them under my back. And when I just bought those balls, it's literally just a very firm ball. It's a little bit more plungy than, it's both firm and more elastic than a tennis ball. I put it under my back and I massaged it. And I remember I felt like I was born again. But this effect of like, wow, only was after the first session. Afterwards, when I tried doing that, I didn't feel that. I guess I released something for good. So, but massage is amazing. But the trick is that you find a good specialist, because massage, especially if you have some vulnerability that you're not aware of, or if a massage therapist is weird, then they can actually make things worse. We had a funny story when there was massage therapist that was, oh, it was a girl. She really liked the idea of my stepfather, I think. So she started behaving inappropriately and started harming my mom. It was quite a story. But yeah, I guess without those things. Another thing, when I lived, the first school that I attended was in Nebraska, that 9 months of madness. And in Nebraska, I went to the spa salon. And in that spa salon, I also got massaged, I think with dirty hands or something. It was so bad. I felt so peculiar about it. And I literally felt like she has 20 clients and she just like, I don't know, like on some like food factory where they assemble dumplings or something. She just like tuk 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 next, tuk 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 next. It wasn't really a personal treatment, and I value that a lot. When people can actually talk to you, when can they can communicate with you like different. You have like tension here, tension there, asymmetry. We need to work on that shit. So, favorite sport? Sport. I don't know. In terms of sport, you know what I like? I like windsurfing a lot. This was my most favorite kind of activity that requires some equipment. But in terms of movement, I love walking. I love walking. I'm a professional pedestrian. And this is actually lacking in the States so much. But I don't give up. I walk as much as I can, in as many places as I can. So walking, then I do fitness. You will be laughing. But I've been doing fitness program by Cindy Crawford, but not her classical one, but the next challenge. It's less popular one. You know those tapes from the 90s. There was Claudia Schiffer, 90s model, and Cindy Crawford. But I found the more hermetic one from Cindy Crawford, and that one is fire. And then I do her for cardio and for legs and glutes. And then I do calisthenics and weight training right now for my upper body. I cannot do certain calisthenic exercises for shoulders, for example, because they're inverted and they put a ton of weight. I actually use scale to measure how much weight is being put on the shoulders when I do like bike push-ups. It's 90% of my body weight. I cannot press that. So I use weights to build up shoulder strength right now, and I do other exercises like on parallel bars for back, for bicep. For biceps, I do actual bicep curls still too to bring them up to the level that will allow me to do some more advanced exercises. But I have two goals now. I have a goal to be able to do a handstand and to be able to do a pull up. But I also do a lot of push ups and stuff like that. So my upper body was lacking, and I just started a couple of months ago to bring it up to speed. This is my sport, yeah. But windsurfing, I look forward to actually going and trying it again. It's amazing. Handstand, yes. Why? Why are you laughing right now? I can do it at the wall though. I cannot do it fully. I'm too scared. I feel like I cannot sustain my body on the on my shoulders yet. So, like for example, I stand near the wall. The moment I put all my weight on my hands and shoulders, I feel like I'm just in some survival mode, and I cannot really focus on stacking myself yet. I have to focus on actually standing. And this is why I just don't progress in it. That's why I'm building more strength to be able to sustain it such that I can focus on aligning myself. Train for 5 seconds, then six. Maybe we'll start with fraction of seconds, and then one, and then two. You trust me, I don't. To always train easy. Trust me, I don't kill myself with it. So, okay. Any other questions? It's already 1:15. It turned out to be a super great live. I'm so happy that we did it because we covered so many topics. And I don't know if we should postpone other questions from Instagram to the next time or not. Maybe I will make some separate videos. Let me know if you like this style, if you like this stream concept. Let me know in the comments when this thing will be posted, if somebody's watching it. And we can do it again if you enjoyed it. So thank you so much, everyone, for your kind words, for your participation, for your questions. You really made it. Thank you so much. Have a nice rest of your Sunday and have a great week ahead. Bye bye.